Opened in 1885, Washington Monument stands 555 feet tall. We're at Nationals Park, game 2 of this 3-game series between the Rockies and the Nationals. What a victory last night for Colorado. Down at 1.4-0. Cargo hits an 8th inning grand slam, and the Rockies win it 5-4 with Tommy Kahnle striking out Bryce Harper to end the ball game. So onward we move to Saturday evening. Charlie Blackmon again will lead things off. Charlie 0 for 5 last night, but he has had a terrific second half overall. And here's the rest of the Southwest batting order tonight for Walt Weiss. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. Jose Reyes in that 2 spot. Cargo and Nolan Arenado flip-flop. Cargo will bat in that 3 spot. Then Nolan. Ben Paulson will bat 5th. DJ LeMahieu 6th. Nick Hundley, Brandon Barnes getting the start in left field, and Eddie Butler. Steven Strasburg off the disabled list. He's been hurt a couple of times this year, the most recent being an oblique strain, so it's just his 14th start of the year, and un-Strasburg-like numbers with a 5.16 ERA. His first pitch in there for strike 1 at 95 miles an hour. Well, he hadn't lost the arm.
No, he hasn't, and he still has the big overhand curveball that he came up with that also is known for. But part of the problem with talking to some various people with the Washington Nationals is he came out of spring training with a bum ankle. And did that affect in his mechanics? They think it kind of did, where he's trying to find a different arm slot, but take some of that pressure off his landing ankle. It was his left ankle. He injured it during PFP. And it's really been a case all year long. Then it traveled up to his neck. And then he's on the DL. Then he comes back, and he's got an oblique shoulder. I mean, this has kind of been one of those years for Strasburg. And
this ball's ripped to the gap in right center field. Charlie's going to have a leadoff double here against Steven Strasburg. He went fastball one time too many, and Charlie barreled it. And that snapped an 0 for 14 for Blackmon. It's also his 75th career double.
Charlie gets the timing correct on this fastball. Foot locks into the ground, and a gorgeous swing and follow through from Charlie. No ill effects from that rollover on his ankle last night.
You could tell on that slow-mo, that looked like a 2-seamer.
It started to run away, but it stayed on the same plane.
So here's Jose Reyes. Jose had a big hit in that 8th inning yesterday.
I was just getting ready to say that this is a good time for him to lay down a bunt.
Charging quickly on the third base line was Anthony Rendon. Reyes getting his bearings in a Rockies uniform. Career 300 hitter here at Nationals Park. A smart hitter at the plate. And he lays down another bunt. It's a beauty. And I like how he attacked. He said, just because I didn't get the first one in fair territory, he did it again. He gets a sac bunt. Now the Rockies a chance. Listen, you're not going to put up a crooked number typically with guys like Strasburg. So get an early lead if you can.
Yeah, you get the double, you sacrifice him over, and then you bring up last night's hero to the plate. And what a night he had. This grand slam. They say it came off the bat at 114 miles an hour. I'm not buying that. I think it was harder than that because it put a dent in that back wall.
Yeah, it was an oh wow moment. The crowd here at Nationals Park went from enjoying their evening. Jordan Zimmerman was terrific to uh-oh. And this is right out in front of the plate. Unfortunately, it's a fair ball. So now it'll take a 2-out hit. Got a breaking ball and unfortunately hit it fair. Here's Washington defensively. In the outfield, Clint Robinson's a first baseman, so not exactly fleet in left field. He's a big guy. Michael Taylor can defend in center field. Bryce Harper's terrific in right. Rendon, Ian Desmond left side. Danny Espinosa and Ryan Zimmerman on the right side. And Wilson Ramos is behind the plate. So Clint Robinson, more of a first baseman. They want his bat in the lineup tonight, so he's out there in left field because they're not going to take Ryan Zimmerman out.
No, but if there's a base hit and you have a chance to wave somebody home on Robinson's arm, you're going to do it.
Here's Arenado, 3 for 4 last night. And Steven Strasburg reaches back and gets 97 there. 86 degrees and fairly low humidity. It's very pleasant out.
This is very unlike DC in August.
Yes, it is, but we'll take it.
Not complaining.
And the 3 starts you see there prior to going on the disabled list, he was dominant. 2-0 with a 1.15 ERA. The league hitting in the mid-100s against him. That was 98. That's closer kind of stuff. Guys don't typically, who start, work at 97, 98.
Well, and for a guy that's coming off an oblique injury, and that's his left oblique, the one you really power through when you're trying to throw the fastball.
That just missed.
Doesn't look like there's any ill effect from being off and not making a start since July 4th in the big leagues. I mean, this is some power fastball, what you saw from him when he was that first pick overall out of San Diego State.
2-2. And he got him with a curveball. So Strasburg leaves Blackman at third. And when we come back, Eddie Butler to the Nationals Park mound. Again, Washington celebrating the 10-year anniversary of Major League Baseball returning to the District of Columbia. That's Anthony Rendon, healthy again. He's played only 30 games this year after having an extraordinary season last year. He's atop the Matt Williams lineup, brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Danny Espinosa will bat second. Then Bryce Harper, he was on 3 times yesterday, a hit and a couple of walks. Ryan Zimmerman, Clint Robinson will bat fifth. Then Ian Desmond, Wilson Ramos, Michael Taylor, and Steven Strasburg. Harper leading all of baseball in OPS. Again, that's on base percentage plus slugging percentage. Eddie Butler will make his 15th start. Out on the road, he's 2-4 with a 4.08 ERA.
Yeah, he's looking to get his first win since May 30th. Been a while for Mr. Butler.
You know, we've heard him say this, Jeff, on several occasions, that he has to be more aggressive with his fastball because at times he'll nibble and walks have been an issue. And we were talking to him earlier and he kind of said the same thing. That miss is 1-1. Let's see if he actually executes that game plan he's talked about.
Well, and that's what you do when you're going into any game. You have that game plan, and then how quickly do you have to make a change and deviate from it?
That's a slider and it's high, 2-1.
But that has been part of Eddie's problem. He has 37 walks, only 38 strikeouts. in 69 in the third inning.
Two-one, and this ball's hit to deep center field. Charlie going back, and he's going to arrive at the baseball right in front of the warning track. It's kind of a strange center field because it's not rounded. He comes to a point out there. Charlie made the catch. So Rendon is retired. That'll bring up Espinosa. Here are the Rockies defensively. Brandon Barnes the only change. He's in left field. Kyle Parker got the start out there last night. Blackman and Cargo join him. Arenado, Reyes, LeMahieu, Ben Paulson, Nick Hundley again doing the catching. One out. Danny Espinosa coming up. There's Brandon. Espinosa yesterday, a couple hits, also hit by a pitch, so he was on 3 times. And he tries to bring a bunt with him, and boy, that should have been fielded by Eddie Butler. I don't know how they'll score that, but I mean, Eddie will tell you after the game he ought to have made that play. He tried to get it past Butler, but Butler quick, good athlete. He got off the mound. He just whiffed on it.
Yeah, Eddie had it. And instead of looking it all the way into his glove, he put his glove down too soon, and then the ball didn't go in. Still haven't ruled. I think it'll go down as an error. I mean, that's the way I would score it if I'm an official score.
Well, sometimes you get that hometown scoring where they want to take care of the hometown guy and give him a hit if it's borderline. Let's see. Here's Bryce Harper, and he takes a strike at 95, and they are scoring in an error. That's honestly what it should be.
4th error on Eddie this year.
Well, you think about the great ones. We'll go back to Jim Cott, but Greg Maddux, 353 wins, 353 or 354. How many Gold Gloves? They field their position. They held runners. It's all part of the process that Eddie's going through, learning how to win at the big league level, and it goes beyond just being able to execute pitches. There's more to it.
There is, and fielding your position is one of them. But now you're facing a guy in Bryce Harper that has 29 home runs. It's first in the National League. Instead of having nobody on and 2 outs, you got a runner at first, and one of the most dangerous hitters in the game going.
Well, the reason, and we touched on this last night, Huey, the reason Bryce Harper has moved from a good player to one of the game's best players, I mean, it was in the cards for him. It's his patience now at the plate at the grand old age of 22.
Seeing more pitches, walking more, striking out less. All works hand in hand.
1-1. That's hit a long way to left field, but it's going to twist foul and out of play.
These are the numbers we are referencing on Bryce Harper. The difference for him even from last year to this year. The pitches per plate appearance, 4.17. When the National League average is 3.78. You're walking more. You're striking out less. Your batting average against left-handers and right-handers is higher because you're getting in better hitter counts. Your 2-0, your 2-1s, your 3-1s.
Right now, Eddie Butler's got a pitcher's count. It's 1-2. Fastball's hit on the ground sharply to DJ. There's one, and plenty of time for Arenado to finish off the double play. So a nice start for Eddie Butler. He ends up working to the minimum despite the error. We'll go to the second. No score in Washington. Havner is going to lead off for the Rockies.
Thanks, Drew. Beautiful views from the observatory deck here at the museum. As you can tell, the Capitol under renovation, and right below me, the most famous 1.2-mile stretch in America, Pennsylvania Avenue. Stretches between the Capitol and the White House, and it's where a president parades on his inauguration day. Speaking of presidents, how about the most famous race in baseball happens right here at Nationals Park? You have Washington and Thomas Jefferson, Lincoln, Roosevelt, and Taft. And as of last month, they added the 30th president of the United States in Calvin Coolidge. He also has a place in baseball history, being the first president to attend a World Series game. That's your fun historical fact of the day, Drew and Jeff.
Jenny, thanks very much. You have some hiking to do to get from there over to the ballpark now. We'll talk to Jenny again in the 8th inning. Baseball.
What a fun day going to the museum.
I love the museum, and they were wonderful to have us as guests today. I said that in the open. I wasn't, making that up. We go every year. There's so many great museums. I mean, it would take a year to go through the Smithsonian.
Right, and that's one of the few museums you have to bring a picture ID to get inside.
I learned that today. Thank you. That was a nice setup. 1-2 on Paulson, foul tip, and that's 2 strikeouts for Steven Strasburg. That'll bring up DJ LeMahieu. Strasburg was a well-thought-of high school kid, but he was kind of a chunky kid. And at San Diego State, he changed his body, literally. And now he's a real lean, strong guy, but when he first got to San Diego State, that wasn't the case. He could throw hard coming out of high school. And he was without question, by the time he left, at the time, Tony Gwynn's program, the late Tony Gwynn, he was the unanimous #1 selection.
Well, 6'4", 230 pounds, almost an ideal pitcher's body. If you're going to construct one, say, oh, this is what you need to look like, and how you deliver the baseball. But he has that unique blend of power, velocity, and control.
Think about who the Rockies are seeing in this series. Jordan Zimmerman used his fastball, and Cargo remarked to Walt Weiss at one point during the ball game. He said, "Man, look at that. I mean, that's dirty. I mean, that's an 84-mile-an-hour curveball, 2 outs." Cargo said Zimmerman's stuff was filthy last night. He kind of had an exploding fastball. Now you got this guy throwing 97, 98 with this kind of breaking ball. Tomorrow you get Max Scherzer.
Yeah, welcome to the National League East. I mean, sometimes that's what you get when you're going out to L.A. and getting Greinke and Kershaw, but maybe not quite as hard a thrower than Greinke. But Max Scherzer tomorrow's going to be out there. Tonight, 97 miles an hour, 84 mile an hour on the curveball. Yet, that being said, they're still only 4 games over 500, the Nationals.
Yep. And again, Strasburg 5-5 with a 5.16 ERA, so he's been giving up some runs. Washington begins the day 2.5 games behind the Mets. The Mets came from behind and beat Tampa yesterday 4-3. McCunley pops it up left side. Ian Desmond was going to call off Rendon. Now Rendon hangs with it, and he makes the catch in foul territory. It's a 1-2-3 inning with a couple of strikeouts for Strasburg. Middle of 2, no score. to you by your hometown Toyota stores. Let's go places. And by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. Beautiful view of the World War II Memorial on the Capitol Mall. And we've had gorgeous weather on this extended stay in Washington. Thursday, an off day. Ryan Zimmerman will lead things off in the second inning for Washington. Nationals came down from Montreal, as we were talking about earlier. This ball's in the air to right center field. Cargo and Blackman will be Charlie. And then they went through the process of kind of turning things around. And now they have one of the elite rosters in baseball. Won 98 games in 2012. They won 96 games last year. They've captured a couple of division titles in the last 3 years. Matt Williams has now taken over. The nucleus of the turnaround came with the right selection of very high draft picks. And it began with Ryan Zimmerman. 05, he was the 4th overall pick after a great career at the University of Virginia. Congrats to Virginia, belatedly, the first-time national champions in college baseball. There's Zimmerman. And then, of course, they had the good fortune. They were poor enough that they had the #1 pick back-to-back years in a period of time where two generational type of guys were coming out. First, Steven Strasburg in 09, and then a year later, Bryce Harper.
That's the key. I mean, it's one thing to have the #1 pick, but then to have these two guys that you could build your franchise one a pitcher, one a position player, that are generational type of players.
Whoa, get down. Eddie Butler got down. Look at that. DJ one. That would have been something, huh? That would have been a 1-6-4-3 if they were going to get Clint Robinson.
And Clint started to round coming out of the batter's box because he thought that ball was going to center field. So if it could have got to DJ just a tad sooner, well, that wouldn't have been
I'm sorry, it would have been just a 6-4-3 out.
But Clint, he comes out of the box and he starts to make his turn thinking, oh, I got a base hit. Uh-oh, I got to redirect and go more of a straight line to first.
So the base hit the first for Washington. 1 out. Robinson is aboard, and here's Ian Desmond. Yeah, a lot of times with the draft, there's several names that are bandied about as to who may be the #1 pick in a given draft. There was no question in 09 that Strasburg was going to go #1. There was no question in 2010 that Bryce Harper was going to go #1.
But that's why I'm saying
yeah.
you had the luck of those two guys in back-to-back drafts where you knew unequivocally that these are the guys. There was no discussion.
And to your point, Jeff, in a sport where there is no sure thing, they were as close to sure things as we've seen in a long time. 2-0 on Desmond. See if Eddie can get another ground ball. Misses 3-0. And that's exactly what we were talking about earlier, where instead of working back in a count too frequently for Eddie, it's a nibble on a 2-0, and now he's in a 3-0 count, and you may be creating traffic here if he can't come back against Desmond. On deck, Wilson Ramos.
When you give Desmond the green light to swing.
Been swinging it better of late. He did have that green light. Last night for Ian, a career .374 hitter against the Rockies.
The lone guy left from the Expo organization.
He's the launch ball for him. He's the longest tenured Washington National. So now they're 2 on for Ramos. Rockies fans, please join in on the conversation. Send us your thoughts, quips, photos. Utilize Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. Make sure you include the hashtag Toyota Talk to be seen. everywhere we go. And some Rockies fans, in fact, earlier tonight.
I saw some over by the Washington Monument today.
There's Ramos on the outside corner for a strike. Ramos 0 for 4 last night. He's the Nationals' all-time leader for catchers in home runs. He's at 54. And that's a 2-strike count. Good sinking action on that delivery from Butler.
Probably the best movement he's had on a fastball tonight. If you can start that moving fastball on the outside corner, the way Ramos starts with this open stance, he just tries to pull everything. You do that, he'll roll over and get you the ground ball double play.
They go away, and that was a bad slider, and it's driven to right center field, and it's over the head of Cargo. 1 run is scored. Here comes Ian Desmond. He gets waved home. He's going to score, and it's 2-0. An 0-2 Frisbee slider right in the heart of the plate about bell high. And you can see that one coming from a mile away.
Cement mixer just sits there flat, and the hitter's eyes will light up. Wilson Ramos came into the game with 47 RBIs, which was 3rd among National League catchers. See how that's just spinning up there? That's an easy swing for a hitter because he doesn't really have to do a whole lot. He doesn't have to dip the upper half too much to try to reach for it. It just stays there for you. It did for Wilson.
Listen, you never want to miss there, but 0-2.
It's almost like a gift to a hitter.
Michael Taylor takes outside ball 1, so it's 1-1 on Taylor. 2-0 Washington in the second. This kid has hit close to 400 with runners in scoring position this year, 391 to be exact. 3rd best in the National League. Andrew McCutchen's #1. Remember a long time ago, Andrew McCutchen got off to a slow start this year.
When was that again?
Yeah, that was early in April, and talent has won out.
Always does.
Buster Posey 2nd, Nolan's 4th. It's important to get Taylor here. You have Strasburg on deck. And keep this inning for Washington a 2-run inning. McCutchen's got the average close to 300, 294. Here's the 2-2. And that's strike 3 on the outside corner. Painted at 95. First strikeout of the ball game for Butler. So that'll bring up Strasburg.
Good finish on this pitch from Eddie. Really reaches to try to get to his glove side. Spots into the glove of Nick.
Goes slider on the first pitch and misses.
Strasburg, I know he's sitting 0 for 16 this year, but in the past he could swing it. Now, will he do it tonight? Will he let go with that swing after coming off an oblique?
I wouldn't.
No, I wouldn't either.
He may have been strongly advised not to. Though he certainly, that looked like he had intent. There are times you can tell when a pitcher's up there and he has absolutely no intent on swinging.
The bat's going to stay on my shoulder. It's just going to rest there. Well, there's the answer.
That was the best sinker. I know it's a pitcher up there. That was the best sinker he's thrown yet. That thing dropped about 8 inches at 94.
Just repeat that. Know what you did to create that movement.
This could be a problem. Safe. Arenado did everything he could to get Strasburg. Strasburg legs out his first hit of the year. First and third, and Anthony Rendon coming up.
That's the third swinging bunt we've seen in this series. 2 by the Washington Nationals, and Nolan had the one in the 8th inning last night.
Nolan's had that exact play 4 times now in this series.
And each time, he's made it, or at least made it close.
Steve Foster visits with Butler, and Rendon will step up. Anthony Rendon hit a ball to the warning track in center field last inning. Recently came off the disabled list. He had a quad injury. Last year, he had 287, 21 home runs, 83 ribbies. He was 17 out of 20 on the base paths. 5th in the MVP voting. He takes ball 1.
He was a silver slugger for third baseman last year. Kid out of Rice.
What a career he had at Rice University. There's the 1-0. And the breaking ball's in there for a strike, 1-1. In fact, his sophomore year, he hit .394 with 26 home runs, drove in 85, and won the Dick Howser Award as Player of the Year in college baseball. Came back, had to come back for his junior year. He wasn't draft eligible yet. And had another great year. Not quite the same in terms of numbers. This ball hard on the ground at Reyes, and he'll flip to DJ. That ends the inning. 2 runs for the Nationals on a 2-run double by Wilson Ramos on an 0-2 pitch. The 3rd inning, Brandon Barnes will lead things off against Steven Strasburg, who wants tacos. When the Rockies score 7 or more in any game, go to participating Colorado Taco Bell locations the next day. Do it between 4 and 6 to receive your Rockies taco special. Strasburg with 3 strikeouts in the ball game. Charlie Blackmon led the game off with a double to right center, was sacrificed to third by Jose Reyes, but Cargo hit a little squibber out in front of the plate, and Arenado struck out on a curveball. And Strasburg averted any damage in the first. He dominated in the second, a couple of strikeouts and a foul out off the bat of Nick Hundley. So here's Barnes in front of Eddie Butler. Brandon 2 for his last 22 at the plate. And that first pitch in there for a strike. Barnes 0 for 3, a strikeout and a couple groundouts career-wise against Steven Strasburg. Both Southern California guys. Strasburg out of San Diego. They did not play against each other growing up. There's a fly ball to right field. So Eddie Butler will come up. Wouldn't you know it, Eddie's on the mound, product of Radford University, and tonight at Nationals Park it is Radford University night.
Pure coincidence.
Pure coincidence.
The Radford Highlander.
It's about 3.5 hours from here.
Depending on traffic. It's 277 miles. I MapQuested to see how far it was from the center of campus to Nats Park.
You said 3.5. You said 277 miles?
Yeah.
Eddie must be going fast.
I think he might be going a tad over the speed limit.
Well, Eddie said, you know, he's got his mom here and a lot of relatives and good friends that have come up from the Chesapeake area. And we asked him earlier, said, how long a ride is that? He said, anywhere from 3 to 8 hours. It's like, what?
Even on the weekend?
I guess it took Mom about 5.5 hours earlier today.
And it's some traffic around Richmond.
One and two. And Eddie's gone on a 96-mile-an-hour fastball. Well, we asked Eddie about attending Radford University and the experience.
I learned so many things there about myself and life alongside of being there for baseball. But, you know, when you go to the university, it's small. You know, 8,000 students. So it's cool. Everybody knows everybody. And, you know, it's probably one of the best campuses around. You know, you go look at it. You're up in the mountains. You can see over top. There's river. And so it's really cool.
He said the whole campus encompasses about a square mile. He says it looks like a triangle, so you can walk it. It's a mile around. Well, not you know what I mean, a triangle, but you take the 3 points, not a circle.
It's 1 mile.
Yes.
If you want. I'm with you.
Okay, but I said around, so that's why I was to make sure.
Followed you. This ball to the right field corner. Everybody's struggling with Strasburg except Charlie Blackmon. He has a pair of doubles. One to right center, and that one short hop the wall right down the line.
Well, turning on a couple fastballs is Charlie Blackmon. That time he says, I don't have a problem with that fastball down and in. Make that now 76 career doubles for Charlie.
If the Rockies can steal a 2-out run from Strasburg. Jose Reyes a sac bunt his first time. Slashes that pitch and it's out of play 0-1. Both teams hit in their respective cages underneath the ballpark as it was picture day at Nationals Park.
Fans were lined up on the warning track, players walking around.
0-1. Good looking fastball at 97, right on the outside corner.
Well, the 3 starts for Strasburg in between the DL stints. In 15 2/3 innings, he had 18 strikeouts and only 4 walks.
Reyes is 5 for 14 lifetime against Strasburg, so he's had success. Not that time. He went right right after him. It almost looked like Jose was looking for something else. Blackman, another double. He is left at second base. We go to the bottom of the third. It's 2-0 Nationals. Fan, and you just might see yourself in an upcoming game broadcast brought to you by T-Mobile. Nationals are up 2-0 on a Saturday night in Washington. Nationals at 56 and 52, again trailing the Mets in the East by 2.5 games. Butler will face Danny Espinosa. Switch hitting second baseman takes strike one. He tried to bunt his way on and reached on an error by Eddie Butler in the first.
Tells you how good of a fielder Nolan is, because there's 4 guys on the right side, 3 and then the pitcher, and he tried to pull it with him instead of pushing it towards Nolan at third base. I've seen him make too many plays in his first 10 innings. I'm not going there.
Remember Gary Maddox, who played a great center field with the Phillies back in the 70s into the 80s, and the late Ralph Kiner said 2/3 of the earth is covered by water and the other third's covered by Gary Maddox. It was a great line. Well, people are going to start saying the same thing about Nolan Arenado. At least the left side of the infielder. So you leave 3 on the right side. Just let Nolan play over there by himself.
Like Eddie Feigner and the king in his court.
Yeah, who needs teammates? I don't need a bunch of guys over here. Crowding my act. Here's the 1-2. Breaking balls high. He's not finishing that slider, Jeff.
Just not snapping it at the end. And finishing out in front more instead of more behind, where it's more of a cast. Throwing it to home.
2-2. Espinosa hitting just 197 over his last 17 games. Natural instinct, everybody ducks. And a foul ball right back off the screen.
Sometimes you're not paying attention back there. You have the net, you're just talking, and then you see that ball come at you. Yeah, you're going to duck. You're going to move.
comfort level knowing the screen's in front of you.
And you always have the one guy. I would have got it. I would have caught it.
And now it's 3-2. Harper's on deck. You were talking about the drafts and how well they drafted, and the good fortune more than anything of having the #1 pick 2 years in a row when Harper came out and Strasburg came out. Another guy that they got high in the first round, Anthony Rendon. In 2011, he was the 6th overall pick, and he's been a very good player.
That's part of the good fortune that the Nationals have had, why they're successful.
Well, 2 of the 3 guys the Rockies are seeing this weekend, and they're all elite. Jordan Zimmermann was a 2nd-round pick of Washington out of Division III Wisconsin Stevens Point. We've talked about when Strasburg was drafted. Tomorrow, obviously, Max Scherzer was picked up as a free agent. 3-2 again, and that's not close.
But Scherzer was a first-rounder himself.
Yes, he was. Arizona originally. Came up with Carlos Gonzalez.
Yoga Day is back for the 2015 season, and it's next Saturday, August 15th. Purchase the Yoga Day ticket package to receive exclusive pregame field access for the hour-long yoga session and a Rockies-themed promotional item. So that's before the game, Drew. We can go out there and do yoga and then change and do in time for the game that night.
Tell me how a class goes.
I will.
Thank you.
I'll YouTube it.
We'll get YouTube you participating. Absolutely. Bryce Harper at the plate. Heading to a 4-6-3 double play his first time out. He hit it sharply, but right at DJ. Espinosa draws a throw. Harper 2nd in the league with a .334 average to Paul Goldschmidt. Leads with 29 home runs. No gloves. A little closer. Alan Porter on the call. So this is the 3rd time Major League Baseball has been in Washington. They have never had an MVP. Actually, if you go way back with the Senators, they did. It's more Washington/Montreal, I should say, has never had an MVP. Walter Johnson going way back was
way back
an MVP. Big Train in 1913. Right now, this guy's got to be atop most people's list.
Still marvel, only 22 years of age. Well, a guy that graduated high school early so he could start his junior college career in order to be drafted.
We were looking at that Sports Illustrated cover when he was on the cover as a 16-year-old. And I think a lot of people yawned and rolled their eyes. Why are you putting a 16-year-old on the cover? And just going to be one of those where are they now? Somebody doesn't pan out. This ball's line to right, a base hit. Espinosa had to freeze on the line drive, so he can only move up 90 feet. 2 on for Ryan Zimmerman. Nobody out.
Well, I think he answered those questions. Where is he now? Well, he's one of the elite hitters in the game. From the side, watch the foot get down very quickly. Comes off his back leg. That helps transition the weight from the back to front and the forward. And then it helps to have quick hands. I mean, that's the bottom line with any good hitter, to have the quick hands creating the bat speed. Some things you just can't teach, and you can't teach quick hands.
Zimmerman, who stands well off the plate, takes a strike on the outside corner. That Sports Illustrated cover when he was 16 boasted that Harper hit 500-foot home runs and was 96 on the mound. And I was a little skeptical. A 16-year-old hitting 500-foot home runs.
With a wooden bat.
With a wooden bat, that's right. Chance for two. There's one, and there's two. Big double play there. So Zimmerman hands the Rockies 2 outs. Espinosa to third, and Clint Robinson will come up. But I guess, in fact, he was doing such things.
Yes, he was. Well, the good people at Grand Junction had a chance to see him play in the Junior College World Series over at Sam Simplizio Field.
Yeah, when he was at Southern Nevada. Then he got tossed out. Remember that? He got tossed out of the game and then couldn't play in the next one. Change up. Ball 1 on Robinson. Clint hit a rocket back up the middle that deflected off of Jose Reyes to LeMahieu. But it was still a hit. DJ didn't have a play by the time the ball got to him.
Robinson, 30 years of age. He had 921 minor league games, hit 141 minor league home runs, and coming into this year already had 13 major league at bats.
That's low. With Pittsburgh. And he made the opening day roster this year as a non-roster invitee to camp. Desmond would be next if Butler loses Robinson. And that's the third walk by Butler. I don't know if there was intent there to go right on right with Desmond. With every challenge, call the Subaru Eyesight Review will determine the outcome. Love, it's what makes a Subaru a Subaru. Desmond walked his first time and then came around on the 2-run double by Wilson Ramos. And that's off the plate. Desmond makes his off-season home in Sarasota. His wife and 3 young boys. His brother-in-law, if you all recall, is Josh Renicky. His sister married Josh. Josh pitching in Colorado Springs right now. Former Rocky.
2 or 3 years ago, they faced off against each other a couple times.
Yeah, and it's weird because not only are they brother-in-law, but they're very close.
Yeah, very good friends.
It's a 2-0, and it's bounced up the middle with eyes. It'll get through, and here comes the third run for Washington. Espinosa scores, and Desmond has his 37th RBI. Carrasco greeting him at first base.
This ground ball did have eyes right back over the head of Eddie. He knew it immediately. You see the reaction. He knows he's going to get through. 2-out RBI. And Espinosa, who started that whole inning with the walk, comes around to score.
So 2 of the 3 walks have come around to score against Butler. Well, I'll give you an idea how close Josh Renicky and Desmond are. The Renickys are expecting a baby boy, and they've already determined they're going to name him Desmond.
Get to see those wiffle ball games when they get a little older.
Right. Ramos hit an 0-2 pitch, a hanging slider over Cargo's head for a 2-run double in his last inning. Robinson at second, Desmond at first, and this ball's pulled to the wrong guy. Long throw now across and perfect. Nolan Arenado saves any further damage with that fine play. In the inning, there were a couple of walks, a couple of hits, and another run. It's 3-0 Nationals as we go to the fourth. In the fourth inning, we'll have Cargo, Arenado, and Paulson. Rockies have 2 hits. The same guy has both hits. Charlie Blackmon, a pair of doubles against Steven Strasburg, who's had dominant stuff. He has 5 strikeouts, and he's been ahead of virtually every hitter.
25 out of the 35 pitches he's thrown have been for strikes. And that's the biggest difference. We showed the numbers between Strasburg and Eddie. Eddie has 56 pitches.
Cargo, kind of a swinging bunt his first time up. And that's the pitch he hit right out in front of the plate. It was a curveball. You may be wondering, all right, Cargo's been batting 4th with great success. Why did Walt flip him to 3rd? Well, because he's so hot, he wants to make sure guys think twice about pitching around him, so he put Nolan behind him for just a little more protection. That's that big fastball, and it's 1-2.
Could depend on matchups too, and depending on, do you want him hitting 4th? But tonight it makes sense because you got Cargo the lefty, then you got the righty, and followed up by the left-hander Ben Paulson. So split the left-handers up.
Two and two. 2 fastballs, 2 curveballs in this sequence to Cargo. Leading off in the 4th inning. Again, the Rockies trailing 3-0. Back to that curveball. Strasburg's 2-3 lifetime against the Rockies. He went 1-1 last year. An ERA of 3.09. Just recently turned 27. And got him with a fastball away.
Up and run on that fastball.
Well, watching him work, you understand why in his career he's averaged 10 1/4 strikeouts per 9 innings pitched.
And that's 3rd best all time with a minimum of 700 innings.
Think about that. He is 3rd all time in strikeouts per 9 innings pitched. Here's Arenado.
And the guy that leads that is elected into the Hall of Fame.
This ball's well hit left center field, way back and gone. Home run, Nolan Arenado, is 27th of the year. And the Rockies have a run. It's 3-1. He went to the fastball, and Nolan did not miss it. RBI number 81.
Hey, Nolan. Oh, Nolan.
Yeah, the neat buckler on the curveball, and now with the fastball, belt high. The way Nolan's head tracks down to the barrel, I mean, that's just something that's just ingrained in his swing. Hands don't get disconnected from the body. They're close to the body until he makes contact, and then extension, and he follows through.
Watch Bryce Harper. Maybe not quite as dramatic, but Bryce Harper really is able to track the ball to the barrel. At least his head moves here. They say it's, you know, it's almost impossible to literally track it that last few feet to the barrel,
and
but
I would
he
agree
attempts
with
to do it.
Yeah.
Paulson strikes out. And they'll complete the play at first.
But the longer you can keep your head in that position, the better your swing is going to be. Nolan's tracking, and then it all comes together. The symmetry between the legs and the upper body and the hands and where it's going creates that home run swing.
I'll tell you what, he did not get that clean flush on the barrel.
Shows you how strong he is. No, it was down. It had some late movement, so it was down closer to the label, but still enough of the sweet spot. Probably caught about half of the baseball in the sweet spot.
LeMahieu fouls it back. DJ Herrera 0 for 4 yesterday. Boy, that's a nasty start. 0 and 2.
It's a 50-50 mix. What you're going to get. Shook off 3 times to get to that fastball away.
Came off that pitch a little bit at 97. Here's what we're talking about. Strikeouts per 9 innings pitch. All-time Randy Johnson, Kerry Wood, Strasburg, Chris Sale, and another Hall of Famer, Pedro Martinez. Pretty good company. One, two. That was a changeup at 90. That's where pitching's evolved to. Tommy Cantley throws his changeup at 90.
Well, when you have the arm to throw 97 miles an hour, your changeup is going to be harder. For Strasburg, he'll throw the changeup 15% of the time. The curveball about a little over 20-21%, but a lot of fastballs.
If you threw 98, you'd throw a lot of fastballs also, right?
Still hard to hit.
I mean, he's working tonight at 95, 96. That's 97, and that is strikeout number 8. Rockies get on the board. Solo home run from Nolan Arenado. 3-1 Washington.
Circle. It is Radford University night, and I found the baseball coach, Joe Rakuya. He happened to be Eddie Butler's coach. You have some pretty good seats tonight. Not so bad getting a look at your old player.
This is the best seats I've ever had to watch him pitch, to be honest with you. So, yeah, fortunate Radford alumni night, and you know, good turnout, and we're just glad Eddie got a chance to pitch in front of the alumni.
Yeah, I know he was excited as well to pitch in front of family and friends, and obviously having you here. What's the conversations you have with Eddie like? I mean, are they more just being there as a friend and a mentor, or do you have some mechanical conversations as well?
Well, they're simple. I mean, they're, you know, good luck and good job. Last week I sent him a couple more aggressive texts to tell him that he needed to start winning some counts and 1-1 counts. You know, and again, it's the same kind of situation tonight. He's gets a little bit behind some hitters, and they're big league hitters. They make them pay.
I know Eddie has the second all-time wins at the university. He was the highest draft pick you guys have ever had. What's the pride like in watching him on the stage?
Well, it's a little emotional, and you know, to see a guy come from Radford University, you know, it's not nationally recognized school. But he put us on the map a little bit lately, and we were fortunate enough to have a great year this year and go to the NCAA tournament. But it's guys like Eddie that allowed us to be able to be put in this position.
I know you're excited. Your whole family's excited. Your son right here. How excited do you see to Ed Butler? You have on all the gear that he gave you.
Even though I sat on his lap as soon as he got drafted, so it was amazing. Also.
So cool, coming full circle. Well, you guys enjoy the game because.
Oh, the great seats. I appreciate it.
Yeah, he can't do any better than that. Actually, when he was coaching Eddie, he was off on an angle, so he was being serious. This is as close as he's ever been to Eddie pitching. He's virtually right behind home plate. Nice story from Coach's son. He'd sit on Eddie's lap. 3-2. Butler working to Strasburg with one out in the fourth inning. Gave up an infield hit to Steven last time, and now Strasburg's 2 for 2.
Eddie said I threw him a curveball the first time. He had the swingy bunt down the line. I'm not going to do that. I'll challenge him with the fastball. So there's falling behind in the count, 3-0. They're working back to a 3-2 count. The pitcher just is going to take one of those big swings, hit it by Nolan. Nolan's a little disappointed he didn't get that, but
yeah,
that was
Nolan's reaction.
I know he kind of slams his glove down on the dirt. What an effort!
He's going to have another chance right here. He's been busy both ball games. 5-4-3 turnaround on the Rendon ground ball. So on that double play, the Rockies get off the field. We'll go to the fifth. It's 3-1 Washington. smart, safe, and fun to drive. Ford Escape. Go further. By Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. And by CenturyLink, your link to what's next. Rockies came from behind and shocked the Nationals 5-4 yesterday on Cargo's grand slam in the 8th. They're down 3-1 as they come to bat in the top of the 5th inning. Nick Hundley, Brandon Barnes, Eddie Butler scheduled against Steven Strasburg, who has allowed 3 hits. All extra base hits, 2 doubles by Blackman, and a home run by Nolan Arenado. 8 strikeouts. We missed the president's race. I had my head down. I was looking at the computer. You know, one of the things.
Last half inning?
I think it was last inning, right? I hate missing the president's race. So at the museum, they have the 10-year tribute to the Nationals. They have, you know, all sorts of great pictures, some memorabilia. In fact, the opening day lineup, the first game they ever played, Vinny Castilla. Vinny Castilla was in the lineup, playing third base, batting 6th. That scorecard is on display at the museum. They have home plate from last year when Jordan Zimmerman in the final game of the year threw his no-hitter. There's a strike that's 0-2 on Hundley. He fouled out his first time. But my favorite artifact that they have from the first 10 years of Washington Nationals baseball are the sneakers worn in 2012 on October the 3rd, the final ball game of the year. Those are the sneakers that were worn by the mascot Teddy Roosevelt. When Teddy, after more than 500 losses in the president's race in the 4th inning, beat Abe Lincoln, Thomas Jefferson, and George Washington soundly again to capture his first victory and end a 500-game drought. It was a special moment. There was not a dry eye in the crowd.
7 long years for Teddy. Yeah, let Teddy win. I mean, everybody was talking about it. T-shirts were made.
Made network news. And again, there are the sneakers. Barnes chases that fastball up. It's 0-1. That last strikeout of Hundley, the 9th for Strasburg.
And that ties his season high. Also had 9 back on June 28th, the game at Philadelphia.
Well, he started 12 games in 2010, a year after his draft year. The first game he ever started, he struck out 14 Phillies. That's still his career high. I said Phillies. I meant Pittsburgh. 14 Pirates. This ball in the air to right field. Bryce Harper in the corner will make the catch. And that'll bring up Butler with 2 down.
In those 14 strikeouts, including the last 7 in a row. We retired the last 7 guys via the strikeout. He's had 16, 10 or more strikeout games in his career.
I'll tell you what, it's amazing. I just think about these 2 staffs that the Rockies are facing these next 2 series. It's unfair to have the pitching riches that these 2 clubs have.
Tomorrow's Max Scherzer. Monday, Jonathan Neese, who's pitching very well for the Mets. Tuesday, Matt Harvey. Wednesday, Jacob deGrom. Not sure about Thursday yet.
Syndergaard threw last night, right? If they skip Bartolo, Syndergaard would go.
Would be online for Thursday.
2-2. Good swing by Butler. Eddie was a real good hitter in high school. A lot of pitchers were naturally. He said he hit .480 his senior year. Got some at bats the fall of his freshman year at Radford.
The problem, they said, let's curtail that. Just work on your pitching.
Strikeout to walk ratio. We were discussing this last night. Not only do you have all these power arms with Washington, they don't walk anybody. Lowest walk percentage in baseball. So their strikeout to walk ratio better than 4-1. It is second best in baseball to guess who?
The Mets.
You'd like to see at least a 2-1 ratio. Dodgers on that list. Corey Kluber leading that staff for Cleveland. That was a good at bat for Butler. He ripped it to short. Desmond made the catch to end the inning, but he hung in there nicely. 3-1. Washington leading, middle of 5. Albuquerque Isotopes jerseys, t-shirts, novelties, plenty more at abqisotopes.com. Albuquerque Isotopes, proud AAA affiliate of the Colorado Rockies.
Albuquerque home tonight, taking on El Paso.
Eddie just finishing his warm-up pitches as he was last guy to hit. It'll be Danny Espinosa, Bryce Harper, Ryan Zimmerman in the 5th inning. This is that hump inning, 3rd time through the lineup for Butler. Rockies within 2 runs after the solo home run by Nolan Arenado last inning.
It's been an up and down game for Eddie, but when he's needed to, he's gotten some double plays, 3 of them tonight.
Fastball misses to Espinosa. It's 2-0. An easy play for Nolan. 1 out.
First 10,000 fans through the gates next Saturday, this coming Saturday, August 15th, to receive a lunch bag courtesy of King Supers. Get your tickets to the game against the San Diego Padres today.
We were talking yesterday about some of the Rockies prospects. Jeff Hoffman threw last night, did a nice job. 5 innings, no runs, just 1 hit in his second start for New Britain in the Eastern League in Double-A. Jesus Tinoco had a good start in his second start. He threw shutout baseball in his first start. There's a changeup missing to Bryce Harper. Kyle Freeland was in Modesto last night as he climbs his way back after rehabbing that elbow injury. 5 innings last night, 2 runs, 1 earned, 6 hits, struck out 2, walked 2. Curveball. And it's 2-0 on Harper. He singled his last time up.
Ryan McMahon also went 2 for 4 for Modesto to raise his average to 307 on the season.
Antonio Senzatella will have the baseball tonight for Modesto. Another well thought of pitching prospect for the Rockies. 3-0 on Harper. Off the plate. That's walk number 4. That'll bring up Ryan Zimmerman. He hit into a 6-4-3 double play last time. Butler's induced a couple of double play balls. Harper, real conservative lead.
Just notice that he's can't be more than 2 steps off the bag at first. He'll take a little bit bigger lead now. Still, that's not a lead where you're concerned that he's going to run.
Yeah, see, and I'm with you. You pointed this out the other day. I don't like that.
No.
Why with body language tell the opposition what you're doing?
Because that's what Tommy Reynolds is making the calls. He'll relay the calls to Nick what he wants to do. So he'll see what the runner is doing at first, and then he'll start to give his signs. Now they've already gone through it, but they know that he's got his hands on his knees. He's not going to run. The belief you get the same lead every time, unless it's a case where you're down by 5 runs. You know you're not going to go. You can't get picked off. But in a game where you're up or the score's still close, why tip your hand?
Do you take the same lead with lefties?
Yes, I would.
Was it a one-way lead back to the bag?
At times, depending on who the left-hander was. A one-way lead, meaning my first movement was going to be a half step back, a little jab step.
Harper's rookie year stole 18 bases, capturing Rookie of the Year. 11 2 years ago. Last year just 2. Of course, he had the thumb injury and was out a good portion. This year just 4. This ball's well hit to left field, and Barnes got fielded off the wall. Harper's going to get a green light, and the throw is offline, and Bryce Harper scores from first on the double by Zimmerman, and it's 4-1. Zimmerman's now driven in a run in 6 consecutive games.
Zimmerman has all those RBIs you referenced, Drew, and now another one. He's been an RBI machine for the Nationals. Now, when Brandon picks his ball up, okay, comes off the wall, but where they are lined up is Jose's trying to tell him to throw it to second base because you know you're not going to get Harper at third, but maybe you can cut the ball off. But where he's lined up, Brandon kind of split the two guys. So he threw it into no man's land. So either you got to throw it to second base or you got to throw it to third base, but not in between. And Bryce Harper running hard all the way from first base. He's kind of looking over his shoulder. He creates his angle to make the turn at third. Being waved the whole way by Bob Hemmel, third base coach.
0-1 on Clint Robinson, a single and a walk, and this is a pop-up to shallow center. LeMahieu going out. Blackman will get there. Holding at second, Zimmerman 2 outs. Next up for Washington, their shortstop Ian Desmond. He's been on twice, also a walk and an RBI single up the middle for Desmond. 4-1 Washington. They've out hit the Rockies 7-3. Bottom of inning number 5 Saturday night in our nation's capital. On the ground to third. Nolan's got it, and that'll end the inning. A walk to Harper with 1 out, and that hurt Eddie Butler when Zimmerman doubled him in. 4-1 Nationals. Nationals are up 4-1. Strasburg making his return coming off the DL has punched out 9, which ties his season high. The Rockies got a run in the 4th inning on a solo home run to left by Nolan Arenado. And Ryan Zimmerman is heating up. Bryce Harper's been on base a couple times. He has scored a run. 3 of the 4 walks issued by Butler have come around to score. Top of the order in the 6th inning, 3rd time through. Charlie Blackmon's had a night against Strasburg. Rockies have 3 hits, the Arenado home run and 2 doubles by Charlie. Curveball's a strike. Plate umpire Brian O'Nora making the quick call.
Long-time umpire Brian, veteran of many seasons.
A lot of times patterns have changed 3rd time through. Strasburg changing his pattern with Blackmon. He's hit a fastball twice, so he got 2 curveballs.
It becomes a guessing game between the pitcher and the hitter. Slider down. A changeup. Their changeup is their number 3 side.
One ball, 2 strikes on Blackman. You just tell he sees, for whatever reason,
picking it up.
He sees Strasburg well.
Wish you could do that for every pitcher you faced. Some guys you do, and it doesn't matter how hard they throw or what their resume says. Back of their bubble gum card, you pick them up. Other guys that have no resume, you can't figure them out for the life of you.
That was a changeup moving away from Blackman. Man, what an arsenal.
Plus pitches on everything. Plus fastball, plus curveball, and now plus circle changeup. That's his 17th career 10 or more strikeout game for Steven Strasburg.
Jose Reyes. And Jose lifts this ball to Harper, an easy play. That'll bring up Cargo. Schwimmer out in front of the plate and the strikeout swinging. The only guy in the Rockies lineup who has not struck out against Harper, against Strasburg, is Brandon Barnes. Twice hit a fly ball to right. Second baseman Danny Espinosa is 40 feet onto the outfield grass, and they're not on a shift. Ian Desmond's still on the left side.
What you'll get if you play that deep for Danny at second base, you'll get the cross cut of the grass in the outfield where the ball will snake on you if it's on the ground.
Changeup, and that's outside. It's 2-0. First time Cargo's had a 2-0 count to work with. Since June 1st, 19 home runs, most in the National League. Slugging percentage, .693. And he lifts this ball to center field. Michael Taylor waiting, and it's a 1-2-3, 6th inning for Strasburg. Nationals up 4-1. It is time for the Coors Timeless Moment. We go back to '89, the World Series. Now Michaels on the call. Walt Weiss goes deep. Yep, that was unlikely. This was less unlikely. Matt Williams going deep against Dave Stewart. Oakland, of course, swept the series. It was interrupted by the earthquake in 1989. 12 days between games 2 and 3. Walt hit that home run in the 4th inning of game 1. That gave Oakland a 2-0 lead at the time. Hit it off Scotty Garrett. Wilson Ramos, a 2-run double earlier in the ball game, takes down low. It's 1-1.
I still remember that World Series and everybody coming down to the field and families gathering.
You just didn't know what to think for a while. Barnes comes on, he makes the catch.
Bark at the Park is presented by Avoderm and Nylabone is Wednesday, August 19th. The event includes a pregame parade on the field with your dog, plus goodies. Special tickets in the dog zone are required and must be pre-purchased. Don't forget it includes a pregame parade on the field, Doug. Everything.
I love Pooch Night at the ballpark. Michael Taylor at the plate, strikeout, and a ground ball to third for Michael A. Taylor. The other Michael Taylor retired last year at the end of the season. Michael David Taylor. Got 37 big league games with the A's and the White Sox. This kid was rated the #2 prospect in Washington's system. He grounds this one foul. And he was a top 50 prospect overall in the game entering the season.
They always have that top 50, top 100 list. They'll have it coming into spring training, and then they'll rearrange it midway point. And again in the off season, guys are always changing and moving up and down.
I'll give you an example of that. Boy, Nolan has had a lot of chances in this series. He had to get rid of that one quickly and go over the top with it because Taylor runs so well. 2 outs. John Gray a year ago was the Rockies' #1 rated prospect, and he was a top, I don't want to say top 20 prospect in baseball. He's still really well thought of, but he's now #2 in the Rockies system because David Dahl entering the season had hopped over John. John's going to open that series in New York against the Mets. Against Jonathan Neese. That'll be his second big league start. We told you yesterday as Chad Bettis wanted some camera time, he leaned in.
What you talking about him?
Yeah, Chad is doing really well. His elbow's pain-free. Pitched a couple of bullpen sessions, most recent being yesterday. He's going to throw a simulated game on Tuesday with Albuquerque. Or is it Modesto?
New Britain.
It's New Britain. That's right. We're in the East. I keep forgetting where we are. So he's going to New Britain, and then Saturday, if all goes well. Look at that. Strasburg's 3 for 3.
Well, he's got 10 strikeouts and 3 hits. Little League night.
Yep. Anyhow, Bettis will throw in a game if all goes well for New Britain on Saturday.
Well, you could tell Chad was feeling better, kind of bouncing around in the clubhouse today.
Yeah, if you're not hurting, you have a smile on your face. On Anthony Rendon. It's popped out of play. Rendon 0 for 3. Again, he didn't play last night.
Trying to work him back into shape. Escobar has done Just as well as they could hope as a leadoff hitter, filling in at third base.
Third pitch, fastball could get him to chase at 95. It's 1-2.
Christian Friedrich now up in the bullpen for Colorado.
Talking earlier about Rendon and the great sophomore year he had at Rice University. He's a native Texan. Way. So he had 26 home runs, batted .394, drove in more than 80. 26 home runs, he struck out only 22 times.
Went to Lamar High School down in the Houston area.
1-2, overthrown at 96, too high, 2-2. Good curveball. Butler's best of the night. He strikes out Rendon. Strasburg vying for a batting championship, 3 for 3. He's stranded at first. 4-1 Washington. Strasburg been swapping hitting tips, evidently. Nolan Arenado's gone deep for the Rockies. That happened in the 4th inning. 3-hit night last night for Nolan. So 4 hits in this series. Rockies trailing 4-1. Strasburg still out there to begin in the 7th inning.
His home run back in the 4th inning. Said, I've got your belt high fastball and I'll take it out well over the 377 mark into the bullpen for his 27th of the season, his 81st RBI.
A changeup. Alan Porter says no swing. 1 ball, 1 strike. Just 78 pitches in. That's a really low number for a guy with 10 strikeouts.
There's 22 balls thrown. That's it. That's the number that's impressive to me for a guy that's throwing 97 miles an hour, big curveball, and a good changeup. Pinpoint control.
This ball hit hard but foul.
Talk about 15 pitches being the magical number. 4 times he was below that. Once he was right at it. The other time we're 1 above.
Ball's down the right field line. Harper's coming quickly, and he makes a great play.
That's knowing your whole ballpark, how much space you have before you have to slam on the brakes.
That's a heck of a play by Bryce Harper, and you're absolutely right. He had to know where he was running to, and he bailed out just in time.
And you could see him start to chop his step when he's getting to the grass dirt area. Once he hit that, he says, I've got 2 strides at best before I need to make the slide so I don't go running into that lower wall down the line.
Then Paulson with 1 out. I'll tell you what, that kid was born and was raised to play baseball.
That's it. This is what I do. I'm a baseball player. And a very good one.
Curveball misses. 1 ball, 1 strike. Paulson a couple of strikeouts tonight. An RBI hit last night. An interesting graphic on the 2009 draft class, in which obviously Strasburg was the big headliner. Strikeout number 11. Strasburg's 48-35. He does not have the most wins in that class. He's 14 games behind the newest giant, Mike Leake. And Mike's not going to pick up any wins for the next couple of weeks or so. He has a hamstring strain, had to go on the DL after the trade from Cincinnati. But Mike Leake 62-48.
I think that would shock a lot of people if you told them that Mike Leake was the winner with 62 wins. I'm not even sure he would have been in the conversation.
Well, how about Dallas Keuchel? He started for the American League in the All-Star game. Good breaking ball to DJ. Garrett Richards has filthy stuff for the Angels. Some pitchers that have come out of that 09 draft class. LeMahieu has struck out twice.
DJ career 4 for 11 against Steven.
The thing he's demonstrated is the ability to hit arm side and glove side with that 95+ mile an hour heater. 1-2.
He starts a tad on the third base side of the rubber, but sometimes when guys start too far to one side or the other, they're not allowed, they're not able to go to either their glove side or their arm side. But staying in the middle, it's easier for those guys to do that. You know, he's just a tick over onto the third base side, but then just a turn and a spin. He has just been dominant tonight.
He has been outstanding in a word. Unhittable, another word that comes to mind. 12 strikeouts for Strasburg. Mobile. You wouldn't believe who we found at the Air and Space Museum today.
Is that Spilly or just somebody wearing a shirt? I think it's just somebody wearing, because Spilly's back in the studio. He's working hard.
I thought everybody burned those shirts.
Oh, I still have one.
You still have one?
Yeah.
That's great. Spilly popular here in D.C. as well. Christian Friedrich in the bottom of the 7th takes over for Eddie Butler. Nationals up 4-1. Drew Goodman, Jeff Hughes, and Jenny Cavnar from Nationals Park. Butler goes 6 innings, allows 4 runs, all of them earned, 8 hits. He walked 4. 3 of the 4 walks came around to score, and he struck out just 2.
48th game for Christian. Last appeared against the Mariners on the 5th. And just a third of an inning, so he hasn't worked much in the last 4 or 5 days. Looking on 96 pitches for him, 59 for strikes.
One of the things
3 of those 4 walks came back to haunt him to score.
And one of the things you look at, and Eddie's not a big strikeout guy, despite having a mid-90s fastball. He's trying to pitch to contact, but the 4 walks, you can have a higher pitch count, and the ball's in play. So there's 8 hits. That's 12 base runners in 6 innings. That's, we all can do the math. That's an average of 2 base runners per inning.
And now in his 15 starts this year, he has 41 walks, 40 strikeouts.
And again, it's not about being a strikeout pitcher per se, but that is that 1-to-1 ratio that has to change for Eddie. He's a young pitcher, but it has to change going forward, and it's got to change somewhat significantly. 2-0 on Espinosa, and it's 2-1. Espinosa, Bryce Harper, Ryan Zimmerman. And a slider for a strike. 2-2. Espinosa was 0 for 2 in a walk. He reached out an error by Butler on a bunt in the first inning. How about that? Did you catch that MLB with the tweet? Mike Trout turned 24 yesterday. He hit a home run. So he's now homered on 3 different birthdays in the big leagues, and he's just 24.
Sometimes what he does, it really doesn't surprise you anymore. I mean, here's a guy in the last 4 All-Star games that has had a single, double, triple, and a home run to start the game off.
He's got 2 MVP awards in All-Star games already. Espinosa pulls this one foul. By the way, we checked that Mets rotation. It will be Syndergaard's actually going tonight, so Syndergaard will go on Thursday. Bartolo Colon's going tomorrow. Syndergaard got hit hard tonight. 5 runs in 4 innings. Tampa leading 5-4 against the Mets. That ball game in the 8th inning.
We knew it was going to be one of those road trips where you're facing 2 of the best staffs in baseball. You know, coming into the season, a lot of people were trying to say, well, the Nationals have the best staff. Well, I think you'd flip-flop it now and say the Mets might have a slight edge.
Strike 3. Espinosa. Oh, wow.
What did Brian do? I was looking at Brian Honora, waiting for him to pull the right arm back.
Espinosa walks on that 3-2 pitch.
Well, just follow Brian. Watch the umpire. He starts to come up. Oh, he just turns to the side. Fifth walk tonight for the Rockies staff.
So here's Harper. 1 for 2, a single to right. He also walked and scored in the 5th inning.
Justin Miller is up in the Rockies pen.
Harper's not going to get cheated, and he produces as much bat speed as anybody in the game.
Your helmet's not fitting right, it'll fall off. And that's a hard swing. A helmet comes off.
And he's got evil intent when he lets it go.
But now he does have 1 batting glove on.
Yeah, what's up with that? This ball's ripped to right, and it is going to hit off the wall. Stopping at third base is Espinosa on a 350-foot single. He hit it too hard.
Over the top curveball. Just generates all this power behind it. We saw it on the swing where he swung and missed, but the hits come through. But this is where it really shows up, how he stays back long enough and waits for that ball to travel to him instead of jumping out hard onto that front foot. Argo played that perfectly to keep Bryce at first base. Well, Star Wars Night is back for the 2015 season, and it's on Saturday, August 22nd, with a pregame parade for fans in costume. Purchase the Star Wars ticket package to receive the 2015 limited edition Star Wars Night t-shirt.
First and third against Friedrich. Nobody out. Zimmerman at the plate. The infield comes in halfway.
Washington 3 for 9 with runners in scoring position tonight.
Corner 1-1.
The situations as an infielder when you're that halfway depth where you know you can't afford to give up another run, so it's really tricky and dicey when the ball, if it is hit on the ground, what are you going to do? First, you might check that runner at third and then make the throw, but then the guy receiving the throw at second base, he's got to then check again the runner. Does he take off for home?
Line drive, base hit up the middle. 1 run is scored. Harper will go first to third. Zimmerman with his second RBI of the night. And the lead extends to 5-1 for Washington.
Another one of those leadoff walks.
5 walks allowed in the game by the Rockies. Last night they had 7 walks and a hit batter.
42 RBIs on the season for Ryan Zimmerman, and he's been doing this whole career. The leg kick, and then it skips off the mound in the dirt area.
Clint Robinson single, walk, and ground into a double play here. But another run scores. Harper scores as the Rockies collect a couple of outs. 6-1 Nationals. Ian Desmond, 2 outs, nobody on. To save his bullpen. Walt's probably going to double switch to begin next inning. Pitcher's due up third. Justin Miller's been getting loose. He'll try to get a couple of innings out of Miller, unless, of course, the Rockies can mount a comeback. DJ come out. Does Counsell go in? Possibility. DJ making the last out in the previous inning. And actually, looking at it, it's the 7th inning, so unless you come back, you only need 1 inning. So hopefully the Rockies could do what they did last night. They were down in the 8th inning, 4-1.
Late game magic last night.
They'd like to face anybody but Strasburg at this point.
What did they say? Oh, he's on a pitch count. We need to get him out of there.
(3-2) on Desmond. And Desmond with a base hit. That's the 11th hit of the game for Washington. Second hit for Ian Desmond. I'm sure that pleases not only Ian Desmond, but Matt Williams quite a bit. Much as he has struggled offensively this year, Desmond has been Producing a lot of hits lately.
Well, here comes your double switch. They was trying to get through this inning, just couldn't do it.
And here comes Descalso. And DJ's going to come off the field. Six-1 Nats. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. And by Mike Shaw Subaru, always our lowest price, sales and service guaranteed. Bottom of the seventh inning as you look at the Jefferson Memorial. The Rockies trailing 6-1. Justin Miller is on board. He'll face Wilson Ramos after the base hit by Ian Desmond. Ramos tonight, 2-run double in the second. A ground out and a fly ball to left as well. Righty's just 103 against the hard-throwing Miller.
Justin was up a couple different times last night. Did not appear in the ballgame. This is his first career appearance against the Washington Nationals. Danny Descalso in the double switch. Now playing second base.
2-0. Two balls and a strike. Rockies been out hit 11-3. And that misses. Blake Trinan is up in the Washington pen.
Blake was just recalled a couple days ago.
Runner going, and the throw is not going to get Desmond. That's his second stolen base in the series. He has 8 on the year.
only been caught 3 times. 3-1 count. Takes a peek over his shoulder to see what happens. Huge jump at first. That's the 42nd stolen base by the Nationals.
Yeah, real low total. They're not a team that steals a lot of bases. Jason Worth had the ability to steal bases. He's had so many injuries. The leading base stealer, Michael Taylor, has 13. 3-2, and that's ball 4. That's another walk. That's 6 walks now issued by the Rockies staff, 13 in the series.
Looks like he's getting ready to come in the game. It's not just in case. There's some urgency behind that.
I would agree. And we've been told that Steven Strasburg just walked down the tunnel to head up to the clubhouse.
Well, Strasburg has 91 pitches, just coming off the DL.
And it's been a long inning also. And I think that factored in because Matt Williams didn't get Blake Trinan up until a few minutes ago. I think if the Rockies had retired the Nationals in an expeditious fashion, Strasburg would have gone out.
The last thing you want is somebody that is warm and then has to sit for 10 or 15 minutes to go back out there again.
2 strikes on Taylor. The 0-2 is a wild pitch. Both runners will move up. Desmond to third, Ramos to second.
Justin just yanked this ball way to his glove side. It goes off Nick's glove, but he wasn't expecting that to be 8 inches to a foot off of where he had set up, especially on a fastball.
That's outside at 95, 2-2. In the inning for Washington. Rockies consistently have been behind in counts, whether it be Christian Friedrich or Justin Miller. He got ahead actually initially on Ramos, but now it's 2-2. He walked, on Taylor. He walked Ramos. Second and third, 2-2, and this is playable for Nick Cumlin. And finally the inning ends. 2 runs in the inning on 3 hits and a pair of walks. 6-1 Washington in front.
6-1, trying to get some late offense going. Well, when Nick Hundley signed a 2-year deal as a free agent this offseason with Colorado, I don't even think he expected his offensive numbers to be as huge as they are for him in his career. When you take a look at the career totals, well, Nick Hundley, he's surpassed some of them already. He played 114 games back in 2013, so those were really his best numbers, but his best batting average came in 2011, where he hit 288. He's right now hitting 301, and when you look at his hits, that's what counts. 89 hits for him so far this season. His previous career high, 87. So, of course, Nick not giving away any secrets, but he really started working with Blake Doyle right after he signed the papers with the Rockies, got going pretty quick, and really attributes the work they've been doing and the consistent work they've been doing to his consistent approach at the plate so far this season, and so far working pretty good for Nick Hundley.
Jenny, thank you. Blake Trinan's in the ball game now. Nick's at the plate, and sometimes you just click with a hitting coach, and in the case of Nick and Blake Doyle, that's what's taken place. Numbers on Trinan, he's been back and forth this year. He's back and forth 6 times last year between the minor leagues and the Washington Nationals. He's got a heavy sinker.
And that's what he throws. He gets a ground ball about 67% of the time. And for Trinan, you talk about the 6 appearances last year. He'd never pitched above Double-A coming into last year.
Got a 98-mile-an-hour two-seamer. He'll move quickly, right?
Yes, you will. And for a guy that started out at the University of Arkansas, then went to Baker in Kansas, Baker University. And
we just had somebody else from Baker the other day. Who was that?
A kid from Seattle.
He scrambled to look it up.
Me too.
Brandon Barnes, a couple fly balls to right field. Barnes, the only guy Strasburg did not strike out. Was it Rob Rasmussen?
It's going to take me a second to find it because I'm searching just like you are. I remember talking about it.
One ball, 2 strikes on Brandon Barnes. Strasburg goes 91 pitches, 7 innings, allows a run on 3 hits. Didn't walk a batter, struck out a dozen in his return. Coming off the disabled list. That is filthy. 90-mile-an-hour slider. Where are they finding these guys?
Well, they found this guy, I told you, out of South Dakota State University.
That's actually got a pretty good baseball program.
Yes, they do.
There. The day after every Rockies victory, get 50% off your online order at Papa John's. The promo code is ROCKSWIN at papajohns.com. 2 outs, Daniel Descalso will come up. First at bat for Descalso. Came in the double switch when Miller entered the ball game. And Desmond has it. And a really quick inning for Blake Trinan. Rockies done in the 8th at 6-1 Washington. was Abraham Lincoln, 16th president of the United States. Nationals leading 6-1.
I went up there the other day, took my picture. I did a little selfie there, sent it to the family.
You can't climb up and sit on his lap. That's verboten.
That's not right.
It's time for our CenturyLink link to what's next. Tomorrow afternoon, here's the pitching matchup. Johan Flande for the Rockies, and he's got a tough customer in Max Scherzer, 11-8, 2.31 ERA. We're on the air at 11 in the Mountain Time Zone with the game following. The pregame show gets it all rolling. Got a pinch hitter. This is Moore at the plate. And I'll tell you about Tyler Moore. Tyler Moore in his last appearance was on the hill. It's the second position player that Matt Williams has used this year on the hill. The first was Clint Robinson.
And both times it came against Arizona.
He had a blowout game, so Moore was on the hill.
Tyler got to pitch at home. Clint had to pitch out on the road at Chase Field.
.20 for Miller, and that's in there for a strike. And Moore in that game went 2/3 of an inning. I'm a little confused on their stats. It says he didn't allow a hit, but then in the home run category, oh, actually, let me correct that. He did not allow a hit. He just hit a bat.
In 2/3 of an inning. Still a 0 ERA.
Well, Robinson also, he pitched a clean inning. He allowed one hit. He didn't allow a run either. Swung on and missed. Miller strikes out Moore.
Well, since Blake Treinen is out of the game, remember the name we were trying to come up with that also went to Baker University?
Vidal Sassoon?
No, Vidal Nuno.
Vidal Nuno.
Hey, on the road traveling and want to watch your Rockies? Subscribe to MLB.TV Premium for live or on demand on over 400 devices. Real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking, and more. Don't miss a game.
And that's on the inside corner. A strike on Rendon. He's 0 for 4 tonight. Strikes on Rendon. Espinosa on deck. We got Cliff Pennington. Looks like he's going to Toronto as probably another super utility player for the Blue Jays.
We'll get some at bats. A switch hitter.
Doug Fister apparently is going to pitch the 9th inning for Washington. One-time starter just removed from the rotation to make room for Strasburg. He was sent to the bullpen. Dan Uggla was placed on the disabled list today with back spasms.
Now, we don't know that for sure.
No, we don't. They had to clear a roster spot to activate Strasburg. 2-2. He's pulled off a number of pitches. Justin's got a big arm. He's missed away.
And when you pull off, you pull your head towards first base for the right-handed pitcher, and then your arm will follow, and you end up cutting the ball that way. You don't finish out in front or finish through the catcher.
Ground ball to third. Nolan's got it. 2 outs. Usually the shortstop's going to be your busiest infielder in this series. It's not even close. Arenado has had about 80% of the balls hit on the ground. He's got 7 assists tonight. Espinosa 0 for 2, though he's walked twice, and both times he scored. Club record for third baseman producing an assist in a game, or assist, Jeff Cirillo with 9.
I just saw Jeff just recently.
He's scouting for Seattle. And we saw him a few weeks back when he was doing some advanced work.
Right, and he's also part of part owner of a couple clubs up in a wood bat league for kids up in the Oregon, Washington area.
A collegiate summer league.
Collegiate summer league.
Boy, he could hit.
Yes, he could. Speaking of collegiate summer teams, they just got a text from Bob Hammond, a sports writer up in Laramie, talking about Blake Trinan, who pitched for the Laramie Colts 4 years ago at Cowboy Field.
Did he
up
really?
in Laramie.
That's in that league with Fort Collins, right? The Fort Collins Foxes. You and I have gone up and spoken at their end of season banquet a couple of times. They do a really nice job up there.
Team in Greeley, another one in Loveland.
Oh, 2, and that's in the dirt. 1 and 2. Rockies in the 9th inning. We'll have the top of the order. Matt Thornton has joined Doug Fister. Maybe the 2 out of the 3 hitters for the Rockies due up being left-handed. Maybe Matt Williams thinking along those lines, where Fister was the first one up. And a strikeout of Espinosa by Miller. So we work to 1, 2, 3, bottom of the 8th inning with a couple of strikeouts. We'll go to the 9th. The Rockies, plenty of work to do. They're down by 5 runs. Thornton out there tossing the baseball for Washington in the 9th inning. Our Jimmy John's delivery of the game provided by the starting pitcher for Washington. He was as good as we've ever seen him. Steven Strasburg, 7 innings, allowed 3 hits. Didn't walk a batter, didn't quite frankly come close to walking a batter. He struck out a dozen. 6th career game with 12 or more strikeouts. His career best being in his debut when he struck out 14 Pirates. So Strasburg off the DL. 91 pitches took him through 7 innings. So Matt Thornton, the veteran left-hander's out there. It's his 39th appearance. Picked up in August of last year. Claimed off of waivers. The New York Yankees.
He leads the Nationals in holds, 15 with that bullpen. Still could throw 93 to 97 miles an hour, mixing in also a hard slider.
Fouled off quickly, 2 strikes on Stubbs. Reyes on deck. Fargo after that. Stubbs has reached 4 straight pinch hitting appearances.
I don't think there's anything wrong with Charlie. I just think it's just a chance for Drew to get in at bat against the left-hander.
Yeah, I would assume that there's nothing wrong. He had 2 doubles tonight. He swung the bat very well against Strasburg. There's Charlie right there. So a strikeout at Drew Stubbs, 1 out, and that'll bring up Reyes. Who wants tacos? Fans follow @RootSports_RM on Twitter to receive alerts for the Rockies taco special when the Rockies produce more than 7 runs in a game. Reyes tonight, sack bunt in the 1st inning. That was the other opportunity for the Rockies to score against Strasburg early. A double by Blackman, sacrificed to third, so he's there with 1 out. Fargo hit a little squibber out in front of the plate, and then Nolan struck out. So that ended that opportunity in the top of the 1st frame. The only run again, an Arenado home run in the 4th against Strasburg to left field. Reyes a strikeout, looking, and also a fly ball to right. Does Thornton not look a little bit like Bryce Harper? Is it just me?
No, he does. Is it? All these guys now have those big bushy beards, and Bryce just needs a little bit more length. He trims his beard up.
2-2.
And Thornton throws left-handed, Bryce right-handed.
Bryce a better hitter. So not many similarities. Is that what you're saying?
Not a whole lot.
Blue Jays have won 7 straight. 2.09 ERA. David Price has been really good. This is a fly ball to left field. 2-0 since his acquisition through 7 shutout innings in the Bronx today. Tulowitzki hit his 3rd home run in a Blue Jay uniform.
Justin Smoke, who put up the big blow today for Toronto.
He hit a grand slam. It's the first time a Blue Jay had ever hit a grand slam against the Yankees in New York. Well, Kyle Parker is going to hit for Cargo. 2 outs, nobody on in the 9th. The Rockies down 6-1. Parker started in last night's ball game. Kyle went 0 for 3. Left defensively in the 8th inning after the grand slam by Cargo. Barnes came in and left. That's on the knees, and it's 0-2. Crowd of 37,155 tonight at Nationals Park. And they saw a dominant Steven Strasburg. Here's the 0-2. And that'll end it. So the Rockies fall 6-1. They're out hit 11-3 tonight. And the story of the game, obviously, Steven Strasburg striking out a dozen Rockies in 7 innings of work. Strasburg improves to 6-5. Eddie Butler takes the loss. Eddie still has not produced a victory since late May. He falls to 3-9. Once again, the final score, Washington wins it 6-1. The last 17 Rockies were retired since that home run in the 4th inning by Nolan Arenado. Time to get you out west to our Toyota Post